time. It's Wednesday. So much to talk about. I'm excited to be here. This is my happy place. Well, it's one of my many happy places. There's a lot of things I like doing. This is one of them. And spending time with you, of course, is magic. So today is Wednesday the 10th. Let me confirm. 10th. It says so on my watch. And it's Wednesday all day. We're doing this for an hour. Glad that you can tune in to share some time with us. Hope you have your questions ready because we're going to answer them. Traffic and police questions, that's what we do. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day that I decide to show up for work. I say that like I have a choice. No, I'm actually contractually obligated. Yes, I have to come to work or they don't pay me. We didn't do a show yesterday. It felt really weird not to be here. I missed y'all. It was odd because timing was not exactly right. I'd hoped to leave the studio or the office earlier to get to the Blue Line Expo. I got there a little later than I expected because I had meetings. But you know what? It was a great day. And I got to meet so many people that I know from the industry that I've either been speaking to and I didn't get to actually meet in person until yesterday, or people that I have met that I got to see again. I was on on a podcast for the CTOA. I was on, what else? I spoke to some people about flashlights, some really cool technology for keeping first responders and tow operators safe when they're at the side of the road. You know, that whole slow down, move over thing. Talked to some people about that. We're going to get them onto the show. What else can we talk about from Blue Line? I got some cool pens. Yes. Because, you go to trade shows and people give you pens. But then there was a booth, a pen booth, talking about pens. And they gave me a pen, and I like it. Talk about all those things later. If you want to ask questions on the show, because this is a show that's all about you, well, then I would ask you to send me those questions. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, or Facebook, I'm going to see those questions because they're just keyed right into what I do here. It goes right onto the screen, just like Stephen Bell's hello, or sorry, good morning. Should be accurate. Use the appropriate language. If you're watching on TikTok, then you can certainly join in. We've got our producers. And there's somebody named James who identifies as a barnyard animal. That's interesting. Tracy, good morning. Ethan Andre, is reflective tint illegal? We'll talk about that in a few moments. Owen says, good morning. Thank you. We have a number of people. This is now are we calling it the pig pen? Because there's a whole bunch of people that are identifying themselves with icons. I don't know why. Anyway, I got to tell you that do we put up with abuse? No, we get some abuse. People think they offend us. They don't realize that I am a traffic officer, and as such, I have no feelings. So try as they might, the only people they upset are actually in the chat. What they do by filtering or by spamming the chat is actually upset our friends who are in there who actually want to get their questions heard. So we fortunately have moderators, and those moderators can shut them down and remove them. Did you know that if you're on TikTok and you're being abusive and you're getting reported, they can actually ban you from the platform, not just from that username. They can actually ban you from the platform altogether. A quick thing that I'm going to do, just because I don't know if everybody else has access, is I'm going to go in there. I'm going to join the live with my phone, my personal phone for anyone who's concerned, and I can actually go and see the folks that are doing those things. And I can ban them if they are not yet banned. Let's see here. All right, now we have Chase very appropriately says, spam is not for sandwiches either. Are you a fan of spam? I mean, in terms of edible spam, I don't know if I've even had spam from a can. I don't know. I have some friends who like spam in cans or fried spam, but I don't think I've ever tried it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should give spam a chance. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're watching on Twitter, know that we'd love to talk to you, but we can't actually hear you. So if you're on Twitter, please jump onto one of the other platforms. YouTube is likely the best. Not everybody has access to Twitch because I think you have to sign up for that. But whatever is your preference, we would love to hear from you. Before we get into stuff and things, I want to bring up the fact that today, although I have said the date already, being that it's May 10th, is a Vision Zero day, just like every other day. Vision Zero is a concept. It is a concept about making roads safer. It's about bringing down traffic fatalities to the goal of zero. I've had some critics say that we don't know what Vision Zero is because Vision Zero is about redesigning cities. I will remind those people that we are police. We don't redesign cities. The government, the engineers, the folks that are in charge of redesigning cities, They redesign cities. We are police. We enforce rules. We enforce rules. We handle tickets. We arrest people. That's what we do. We also do some education. That's what I do. So for the critics who say that we aren't Vision Zero enough or we haven't received the appropriate brainwashing, no, we're good. We do what we do. And we understand that we cannot eliminate collisions. The ones that lead to serious injury and death, though, yeah, that we have something to do with. And we can reduce those because there's no excuse for them. The ones that lead to serious injury and death are by choice. People are choosing to behave in a manner by speeding, driving aggressively, distracted driving, impaired driving. They're doing it on purpose, not with the intention to hurt people, but they're choosing to engage in those behaviors, knowing that they're dangerous. Well, that's unacceptable. You get into a fender bender when you're going slow, that doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I remember one of my favorite campaigns years ago was the Wipe 5 Off campaign out of Australia. And they talked about doing 60 versus 65 kilometers an hour and what a difference that makes. Well, look at what we're doing in Toronto. The lawmakers, those engineers, those people who change rules, they reduce speed limits from 60 to 50, from 50 to 40, from 40 to 30. You know what happens if you hit a pedestrian at 30? A lot less than if you're hitting them at 60. It's to protect people. So we're out there in different divisions every day making a difference. Now, our critics also talk about the fact that we announce where we are going to be. Why do we announce it? We announce it because there's people who live in those neighborhoods who deserve to know that we're there to protect them, that we're there to make a difference where it matters to them most, where they live. Now, actually, I should say where they live, work, or play, because all of those places are important. In any case, where are they today? Vision Zero is in 22 Division and 43 Division, which may mean very little to the average person because it meant very little to me until I got to know what the divisional boundaries of each division were. But I can tell you that that's Etobicoke, West Mall, Queensway, Etobicoke in general, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood. Those are neighborhoods where real people that work and play and deserve to be safe, and we want them to know that we're there taking care of business. And tomorrow will be somewhere else. This is intelligence-led. This is where our analysts go and say, crash data says we need to spend time there. And we sprinkle that goodness all over the city. Now, they are a dedicated team that doesn't do anything but issue tickets, and they go to different areas every day, but that doesn't mean that nobody's writing tickets if we're not there. We are writing tickets all over the city because officers that wear this uniform care about safety. Just as simple as that. Okay, with that out of the way, I also want to bring up the fact that we're hiring. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, I would invite you to visit tps.ca/careers for all sorts of great information about jobs that are available. And I know we're going to get to your questions in just 1 second because people are like, but. No, we'll be right there. I want to talk about, it's important. This is important. Okay, here's what will see when you go to careers section of our website, and you can see that we're hiring, or we have pages giving you information about police officer positions. It says here lateral hire. That's for police officers who work somewhere else who want to come here. We hire people who are police officers elsewhere. In fact, it's a great process, and many people do that. Special constable, it's not the same as a police officer, but you know what? It's fantastic. I started as a special constable. I actually started as a court officer, and my status was special constable, but it is a great place to be, and maybe that's exactly what you're looking for. Parking enforcement officer, obviously, that's someone who helps keep our city moving. Erin Urquhart, TPS Bike Court, is one of those who's not here yet, but she should come into the show today or tomorrow or the next day. Well, yeah. Communications operator, the people who answer the telephone as call takers, and dispatch police officers as dispatchers. Fantastic job, very important to us. And then civilian roles, and as I click that, I can see that they've added a couple more postings. Senior analyst. Now, Azure Administration and Support, I believe that is a computer-y platform from Microsoft. I don't actually know, but things have changed since I was a computer guy. Senior programmer in the Human Capital Management section. That's cool. I don't know what that is. You can click and find out. I'm not reading it. Solutions architect and communication. So it looks like everybody, three out of the 4 jobs are computer related. If that's you, if that's what we're speaking to, or if you know somebody who's a programmer, computer-y person, you should let them know because it's an opportunity to become a member of a fantastic organization. Yes, I am patting ourselves on the back for being awesome. We're a great organization, and we rely on good people who want to serve their communities and make them better. All right, moving along. Let's see here. Oh, Chase says his favorite part of expos is the free stuff. Free stuff's always nice. But I actually like meeting people and finding out what new technologies. I got a chance to see some really cool stuff, some VR stuff. I saw some cool if you don't know me, and many of you only know me through this interaction, but I'm a police geek. So I like guns and knives and flashlights and cars and batons and uniform stuff. I like all this stuff. And all the people who were there were selling and showing off that stuff. So I was in my happy place. And just great conversations with great people. People who are doing things to make our officers safer. And of course, I got to meet the Premier, Doug Ford. He was there, and he was talking to people. He actually spent a lot of time there. I was really, really impressed. Really impressed. Okay, let's see here. We got McHappy Day, really? I did not know it was McHappy Day. Does that mean I'm obligated to get a McDonald's sandwich? I'm assuming McHappy Day is okay, I gotta look it up. But if it's McHappy Day, I mean, if I have to eat my favorite junk food, Moore in the Morning, it was talking about, or on Moore in the Morning, the host was talking about the fact that he really only goes to McDonald's. He's a McDonald's guy. And McDonald's has been a part of my life for a long time. I even worked at McDonald's. Yeah. So maybe I have to go support them. That's cool. And Stephen Bell's birthday is coming up on Monday. Cool. Good to know. We will be here on Monday. But I have to let you know that I will be here Monday, Tuesday, and then I will be off the air until June. So I'm breaking the news to you now. We will be on a brief hiatus. Although I might be sprinkling some content in and around international content because I will be elsewhere. I will be on vacation elsewhere outside of here. Okay, let's move on to some actual questions. Nikki wants to know, can I report someone who posts videos of them driving while holding a phone and breaking speed limits? You can make reports. It doesn't mean that we'll have the ability to take action. It depends if we have all of the requirements of the offense. So we have to know time, date, location, vehicle. We have to have a complainant who's going to come in and testify to that information. And did I say identity of the driver? Because identity of the driver is a thing. Seeing it is great, but there's a lot of work that has to go in, and it depends on what we're seeing. Simply holding the phone and doing 5 kilometers over isn't going to start a helicopter, investigation where we're hovering over their house to find out if they do it again. It really depends. Is it good to report it? Absolutely, because even if we can't lay charges based on your video, it does help us build a file. Because, we take reports, they get filed. And then when we pull someone over, we see that information, and then we can act on it appropriately. For instance, if they're using their phone, they say, but officer, I've never done this before. And I say, well, actually, I got 16 reports from various people across the city on different days saying they all saw you doing it. And some of them saw it on video, so you're not that bright. So you're getting a ticket today, no warning. It just changes the way that we would be able to engage that call. And I think it's valuable. So, how do we have people report things? You go to our website, www.tps.ca, and there is a section for doing all sorts of reports. You can report minor things. You can report major things. You can report things specific to a driver. You can report things specific to an intersection or a neighborhood where you're seeing problems. Mick Harley, thank you for bringing that up, Akela. I have to briefly mention a very important webpage, and that is harleyraffle.ca. And I appreciate Akela, who always brings up and reminds me to do this, because I, without fail, always forget. I was trying to figure out which pages to queue up so I wouldn't forget, and I forgot to queue up this one in advance. What are we talking about? If you would like to support Special Olympics Ontario, there is an opportunity for you to be a good human, maybe even a great human, and also support a fantastic charity that takes care of great people. It allows them to get involved with sports and really push their limits and their personal limits. They do so many cool things. Now, everyone should be trying to be better every day, and this group of fine folks enables people who don't always get an opportunity to do things, to do great things. They really, I've spoken to so many cool athletes that participate in Special Olympics, and I supported them. I bought my 8 tickets already. I might have to buy 8 more because I really want to have that motorcycle in my driveway. 1 ticket for 20, 3 tickets for 50, 8 tickets for 100, and it's all electronic. And if you happen to see Motor Squad officers at an event in the near future, know that you can also buy tickets from them directly. All righty then. What is this? Big Jeff Fresh says Vactus. I don't know what we're talking about. I've missed the joke. I read it, but I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. We have Dr. Nick, who says, what is the purpose of the law banning rear passengers from drinking? Obviously, the criminal drunk driver Drivers don't care about the laws, so what's the harm? It's against the law to have open alcohol in a vehicle. What's the purpose? I can't speak to what the lawmakers thought of or why. I can assume that it's just having open alcohol, bad idea. It's accessible to the driver. Someone could be handing it to the driver. But I couldn't speculate as to what the extended meaning or intention was behind it. But I do know it's illegal, and I support that. There's no reason you should have open alcohol in there. And that applies to limos, regular vehicles. You can't smoke marijuana in a car either, or consume any drugs in a car. So is there a particular reason? I don't know. I wasn't in the room when they wrote the law. And Akila says, Spam isn't kosher, and it has a ton of salt. Okay, good to know. Raymond wants to know, is there a regulation as to how bright I can have my reverse taillights? So here's the deal. The 3 lumens is the minimum brightness that it can be. And it has to be white light. Could it be super white light? Oh, these are reverse lights. I was thinking, 3 lumens is my is for license plate light. I was going in the wrong direction there. I don't know. I don't know if there's a maximum reverse light brightness. If they're considered headlights in that thing, that I would assume that 3,000 lumens would be the same. That's for a headlight, but I don't know. I've never had this question before. But I guess it's so you can see things, and seeing is good, and it's only on when you're driving backwards. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do some research on that. Making a note. So yeah, this is my pen. My pen that is new. I got a new pen from Anna today because I can't find my old pen. Okay, this is not a trade show pen, by the way. This is an Anna pen. Okay, we have a reverse light max. That's what I'm making my note about. Okay. I underlined it, so it's super important. Okay, Adam from Alberta. I'm from Alberta, but I have family in Ontario. Can I drive legally in Ontario? Well, that depends on how you're licensed. So if you are licensed and you're over the age of 16, because in Alberta, I believe you can start driving at 14, you can drive in Ontario whilst possessing a proper license and being over the age of 16 or older. So if you have a learner's permit from Alberta, it's only valid in Ontario once you are 16. And even then, learner's permits really aren't intended for use outside of your province, but many provinces accept them. And after some deep diving in the rabbit hole that I went down, even though technically they're not transferable, if you have a learner's permit in Alberta, you'd have to apply again for a new learner's permit in Ontario, because again, they're not really intended to be used here. But many people accept them. Crystal says, my daughter did Special Olympics this week in the city. What is it? I missed this. Live, and it was amazing. So happy to hear Crystal. Crystal and her daughter doing amazing stuff with Special Olympics. And oh, sorry, I missed your message where you said good morning and hope you're having a great day. I am having a great day. It can only get better because we're hanging out with you guys. Ryan JJD, I think is the name. If it's a completely deserted and no other vehicles on the road, is there any laws that prohibit driving in oncoming lanes over the yellow line? Technically speaking, no, there's really, in Ontario anyway, there's no law saying you can't be on the oncoming lane unless it's in conjunction with stunt driving, and then there is something that says you can't do it. Crossing the line isn't specifically against the law. Passing into oncoming traffic isn't against the law. But if you were to come into contact, or if you were causing drivers elsewhere to cause an issue or making it unsafe, there's obviously issues there. You can't play chicken, for instance. And if you were racing where both vehicles are side by side and you're just continuing using both lanes, that would be under stunt driving. But it's an interesting question. I'm glad you asked it. I love going down the road of the less asked question. What do we got here? Okay. Do youths... Okay, one second. We're just going to scroll back. Okay, no, we're going to grab that one. The question is from Vince. Do youths have to get mug shots if they're arrested for an indictable offense, or is it only fingerprints? I think everybody gets photographed. I can't imagine why some wouldn't get photographed. It depends on what we're talking about, because if you're talking about, like, what's a youth? If you're talking about from the age of 12 on up to the age of 17, then yes, they're going to get photographed. If you're under the age of 12, I don't think you're criminally responsible. I don't think you're going to get charged. And I say think because it's been a long time since I've actually, I don't think I've ever come into a situation where I've had to charge an 11-year-old or younger. So I've never had to process one, so I don't know. I don't know if they get photographed anyway. Would they get fingerprinted? I don't know. I've never arrested a child. Wow, I love the fact that we've gone down a portion of, I've just never gone down there. Let's see here. What's the laws on colored tint? Well, all tint is colored. It doesn't matter if it's gray, which is your standard gradient, or if you're talking about pink, purple, green, that actually is a color that is not a value. So I guess a gradient is a value, but it's all classified as colored. When you talk about, there's color coding and there's reflective coding. And both of those are deal with or obstructing the driver's view out and obscuring our ability to see in. Both are illegal depending on the limits. And we talk about obscuring because if I can't see you, it's against the law. There is an inspection standard which says you have no more than 30% light blockage, meaning 70% of light has to get through. But that's for inspection, and we can deem it to be an unsafe vehicle based on being beyond that percentage. But just from looking at it, if I can't see you, if I can't make out your description, if I can't see if you're wearing a seatbelt or not, that's too dark. You've obscured my ability to see in to the driver's compartment. The window's directly left and right of a driver, and the windshield can have nothing. So those are going to be a ticket, $110 for preventing me from seeing in, whether it be through the windshield or the windows directly beside the driver on either side. And if your view is determined to be obscured seeing out, well, then it could be another $110 ticket, or it could be unsafe motor vehicle and lose your license plates. They could be seized for an unsafe vehicle. Yeah. Zach has a question about airsoft, more specifically airsoft in your own backyard property inside the city. You want to know if you can have these firearms-looking devices that shoot pellets. Are they legal for sale? They are legal for sale. My understanding is if they are truly... So there's replicas that are ultra-realistic. Those can be prohibited depending on the interpretation. If they're airsoft, like a BB gun type thing, can you have them on your property? Can you shoot tin cans? Yeah. Could you find yourself at a gunpoint arrest because your neighbor thinks you're playing with machine guns in the backyard? Potentially, yeah. So you got to be smart about it. If you're going to be using them, running around with them, you're going to want to let your immediate neighbors know who may have a view onto your property. Or and if you're transporting them, you should be transporting them in cases, not like some person who decided to walk onto a crowded subway with what appeared to be an M16 or an M60. I don't know what it was. That was many officers responding, all with their guns drawn because they assumed they were going to be dealing with an active shooter situation. So airsoft, I'm not a specialist on airsoft, but this is based on my understanding of things. Be very careful what you do with them. And would we prefer you don't use them unless you're at an airsoft park? Sure, we'd prefer that. Okay. Going back, as I scrolled, as things update, they scroll beyond my ability to read. Okay, Bodman requested a case to be reopened for license suspension. How long does that take? I don't know. If you go to the courts, you appeal, you have to, I believe, be interviewed by a justice of the peace, and you have to make your case as to why it should be reopened. And if they choose to grant that appeal or that opportunity to you, then they would schedule a court date. And I don't know how long it takes. And yeah. I've never gone through the process. It's something with the courts. I used to be a court officer, so I'm aware of what the process is, but the length of time I have no connection to. Okay. Haley spoke. Did I say that right? I don't know. Now I'm looking at all the potential opportunities, different ways to pronounce that username. When a car hits private property, do you need to go through insurance or can you go to small claims? That's not specific enough. Are you saying that a car hits another vehicle on private property? Does the car hit the actual, like a piece of physical property, like a light standard or a house? So generally speaking, if a car hits something, you'd want to go after their insurance if you're the victim in that situation. But a police report needs to be done. Like it's not something that they just drive away. Like there's a process. In terms of payment, usually you go to your insurance company, whether it be property insurance or or vehicle insurance, and then they do something called subrogation. And that is where they pay you, and then they go and get made whole again by going after the person responsible. If you are the person who hits somebody, that's a whole different situation. But you'd still, could they sue you separately? I'm sure they could. We live in a world where everyone can sue anybody for everything, and yeah, there's no fault insurance, but that doesn't stop people from putting in claims. What do we have here? Oh, we got an update. So things just scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. Okay, I scrolled back. We got, can a Ministry of Conservation officer issue speeding tickets on the highway? I don't know. I got a lot of I don't knows today. I don't know what their abilities are. I don't think they enforce speeding, but I don't know that they don't. So Ministry of Conservation is not an organization that I've had any experience with. But they should be on TikTok answering these questions. Maybe we'll reach out to one of them because they do a lot of stuff, but I don't think they do enforcement on the road. I think they might have the ability within the parks, or I don't know. I don't want to make it up. I don't want to guess. We're going to say I don't know. We got that. We got this. We talked about this already. How about that? If you're watching and you have no idea who the guy saying it is, know anything is, my name is Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. And I try to answer your traffic and police questions every single day that I come to work. And that's not every day. Because I wasn't here yesterday, even though I was at work, but I wasn't able to go live. All right. Oh, now I understand. Hiatus and vacation. Got it. So earlier, I said a word. What was the word? I'm scrolling back to go back. So hiatus, right. He tried to make hiatus and vacation into vactus. Vacatus? I don't know. It was a good effort, though. Now we go back. We go back to find more stuff. If you're watching on Twitter, know that we can't actually hear you when you're talking to yourself, but we appreciate you and invite you to jump over to our YouTube or Twitch or even Facebook page so that you can interact and send us questions. If you wish to do that, go to trafficcop.ca for links to everything that we do. Hey, what a good opportunity to actually show you what I'm talking about. So, hey, trafficcop.ca. It looks looks just like me, in fact. Links to getting a Harley ticket. You can get links to our TikTok and all sorts of stuff, even our podcast, TPS Traffic Jam. I don't know if it's the best podcast in the world, but certainly the best traffic podcast in the world. It's where I interview people, and it's very different, although it is available on live stream sometimes. Generally speaking, it's pre-recorded and posted after the fact. You can get me on the VoiceOver Cop socials, my LinkedIn and whatnot. Places, I've got to update this because that's only the totally useless information podcast that I appeared on, and I've been on a whole bunch of stuff, so I got to update that to include other places that I've shown up. Traffic services, we have our channels. Toronto Police in general have lots of things. One of them, which is really cool, if you're a pedestrian and you're involved in a collision with or a pedestrian or a cyclist involved in a collision, you don't have to start your report when you get to the collision center. You can actually start using this website. Once you go to any one of our three collision vehicle or collision reporting centers, two for motorists, but there's one special one, a third, that is just for you guys and gals and people. You can do that by coming to 9 Hannah right here where I am in our lobby, but no motor vehicles are taken. It's only pedestrians and cyclists. But again, you can start that report here. Now, useful links. I got great stuff here. Renew your license plate. You can even go and set reminders up for your health card, your driver's license, all of that done here. One simple link. Driver's license check. You're going to loan your friend a car. Make sure they're licensed, because just because they have a card in their hand doesn't mean it's valid. This website allows you to check the validity of that license. Riding an e-bike, riding an electric kick scooter, here's the information on the laws in Ontario about those, surrounding them. And I got to do some research about this one today for someone. In any case, that's what you need to know. Also, if you're in Toronto, know that the pilot for electric kick scooters doesn't apply here. We do not accept kick scooters in the city of Toronto, despite the fact that people get into collisions with them all the time. So what happens if you're involved in a vehicle that's prohibited and you're in a collision? I wonder if insurance is going to pay you. I don't know the answer to that question, but I think they might have problems with you. Just saying. If you're going to buy a car, check to see if it's stolen before you buy a vehicle. You can do that by running the VIN, that's the vehicle identification number, in this database, which oddly enough goes to people who know stuff. And finally, a link to give you information about driving in places in Canada. Whether you're moving from one province to another or you are visiting from elsewhere, yeah, This is where you can get some great information about what you got to do. Where's my mouse? Come back here. Okay. Taking the screen sharing off. Trafficcop.ca, that takes you to my link tree. That's where you get to all those links, and I update them often. Let's see here. Nicky Nance. How do I apply for a driver's license in Ontario if I have a driver's license for my home country? Oddly enough, I just talked about that link, and you should check it out. If you are in Ontario and if you become a resident, you now live here, you have 60 days to apply. And what you can do is go to a Service Ontario, you fill out a form, and for most countries, there's an exchange program. So if you're an American, if you're from the UK, you can do a straight exchange. But not every foreign license will allow you to do a straight exchange. Some of them will require you to start from the beginning with a G1 and get a learner's permit. Others will give you an express ride to the top. In other words, you have to do the tests, but you may not have to wait the time. So they'll credit you some of the experience that you have, if not all of it. But that's something you'll need to talk to drivetest.ca. That's the website. That's a great question, and I appreciate you asking it. Did anyone else see the new crown? I'm not talking about the new crown. I'm not impressed with the new crown. I'm not calling any issue with the king. I'm saying the crown that they want to release here, the new crown, I don't like it. I like history being history, and you don't change history. But that's just me, and I'm going to shut up now. Okay, Kairos 1971 says, "What's the fine for making a What is the fine for making a right-hand turn from the through lane to avoid the lineup making?" If we're talking about cutting people off and making an unsafe turn, we're going to say it's unsafe turn and or move not in safety. Most of those are $110 and some demerit points. I'm not going to look it up right now, but let's see here. Oh, that's fun. I like some of these jokes. People are trying to be offensive, but they're just coming off as silly. That's very funny. Hang on a second. I can't even ban them because they must be like 12 or 13 pretending to be old enough to be on this app. But anyway, moving on. I'm going to skip out of there for a second because I do want to now look up what the fine is for unsafe move. Is it bad that I laugh at cop jokes? They make me laugh. Unsafe move. $110 and it's 3 demerit points. And I would probably go somewhere along the lines of that. Could it be careless driving? Potentially. If they went by, if it was really more serious, could it be $490 and 6 demerit points? Could be. Okay. TD80 underscore 2.0. Question. Are motorcycles allowed in the HOV lanes even when the picture is not on the sign? I'm glad you brought that up. If you're on 400 series highways, the province came out, I think, in 2007 or 17. Now I'm confused. In any case, it's legal for you to go as a solo rider on 400 series highways. If you're talking about the multi-use diamond lane in Toronto and in municipalities, that needs to be based on the sticker, the sign. If it's not on the sign, it does not include, because those are not HOV lanes. They look like HOV lanes, but they're multi-use diamond lanes, and the sign denotes their use. So sometimes they're bus lane only, and you can't be in there. If it has a motorcycle, then you're good to go. And most of them in the city of Toronto have a motorcycle on them. I'm sure there are some that don't. Yeah. HOV lanes on the highway, though, amazing. Very cool. And it makes sense, right? Because we're trying to promote better ways to travel, and motorcycles one of those better ways. And Sammy Salsa. What do you want to know? You want to know about why Ontario police help informers get away with breaking the law in Change for Info. I think this is pretty much standard across the planet. If someone who is a criminal, but they're a minor criminal and they're willing to sell out a bigger criminal, and we want to get the big dangerous people off the road. I don't mean driving. I mean, like, in general, bad guys and gals and people who are into some bad stuff, and someone wants to get away with some minor stuff by selling out the big stuff. Well, we want the big stuff. Yeah, I think that's just pretty standard. I watch NYPD Blue and Blue Bloods. I know how it works. That's not my area of expertise. I'm a traffic cop. I'm not someone who deals with informants and whatnot. But that's the whole idea, is that you go for the most dangerous bad guy, and that might cost you, some some trade of information, and maybe someone gets a free pass for something minor. Do I think that's a good thing? I think getting bad guys off the road is good, or putting them in jail is good. Is it ideal that people break the law and some of them get away with it? No, but small fish, big fish, right? Okay. Can you turn left without a green left turn signal but go straight signal? What? Hang on. Can you turn left without a green left turn signal but go straight signal is green? So it depends on the construction and design of the intersection. If there's a red light for the turn lane, then no. If there's an advanced and then the advanced turns off and then it just stays as a regular intersection, I'm going to say generally speaking, yes. Then you would still be able to make a left turn if it was safe to do so. But it depends on the construction. So I can't give you an absolute yes or no. It depends on how it's designed. Some people like being agents of chaos. Some don't realize they are. I think that's hilarious. So we were discussing what do we call those people who do things that make the roads unsafe? And Kayla has coined the phrase, agents of chaos. Wasn't chaos, what television show was chaos an organization for the bad folk? I'm sure that was maybe somebody can Google that. I thought chaos was some criminal organization in some series. Maybe. Okay. What do we got here? Joke officer. Is that you have a joke, or is that your user? Oh no, it's okay. So it's the Grinch. Do you know why I pulled you over? You were bored and wanted some company? Those are good. Like I said, I appreciate cop jokes. I think that we have to be able to laugh at ourselves because we do stuff worthy of laughter sometimes. Sometimes we do things worthy that are not worthy of anything. Some people do the wrong thing, regardless of whether they wear a uniform, whether they're doctors, lawyers. There are bad people everywhere. Some of them fall through the cracks or get through. But generally speaking, 99.99% good people doing good stuff. What do we got here? We talked about this. We talked about that. I can close this window. Fantastic. I already covered this. Did you know, and this is just a brief opportunity to plug our YouTube channel. Why am I plugging it? Because you can go and actually see all sorts of stuff. You can actually see tons and tons of videos. Everything we post, all of our long form videos, all of our live streams, everything right there. You can go through and watch it all. Oh wait, live. Look at this. This is wild. So many videos. Podcast, that's a new heading. I don't actually know how it treats it differently, but just last year alone, 283 episodes of Ask a Traffic Cop. So if you are interested in catching up on a lot of video, like maybe while I'm away, check it out. Go here, check out. All right, enough of that. Owen Cooper. Is it illegal to use your phone while driving if you're recording somebody else breaking the law? Well, technically speaking, if you're using a camera, not a phone, a camera, it could be careless driving. If you're using your phone as a camera, it's not acceptable. That is actually against the law, and you could be charged. If you were being pulled over and you had evidence of said crime, could you potentially be cut a break? If you show me that and I can use that evidence, I might accept it because I would understand and rationalize with that. But is it technically against the law? And would you be responsible if you caused a collision? And could you actually get a ticket? Yeah. This is where dash cams are awesome. I have a dash cam. I am recording stuff every single day, downloading stuff every single day. Not only because I create content using it, but I think it's incredibly valuable to have that always running camera and not holding up your phone to take pictures of stuff or video, because that's just dangerous. If you got a passenger, let them do it. If you don't have a passenger, you might have to just let it go, because your safety is, and the safety of others is paramount. You know what you can do? Call 911 if it's something really dangerous. Not just breaking the law, but really dangerous. Putting people in immediate harm's way. It was Get Smart. Okay, I thought it was familiar. Agents of Chaos was from the show Get Smart. I loved Get Smart. Oh, yeah. Agent 99. I'm not going to try and do his voice because I wouldn't be able to. It's too high pitch. What was the actor's name? It'll come to me tomorrow at some point. Okay. What's the fine for no valid insurance or expired insurance? Okay, so if you don't have proof of insurance, it's $65. That's the pink card in your wallet or the electronic version. You can't provide that upon demand. It's a $65 charge. If you actually don't have insurance, whether it expired or you never had it or there was fraud, the driving a motor vehicle without insurance or permitting it to be driven without insurance comes with a fine range on first conviction of $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. First conviction. So it's serious. If you're involved in a collision and you have no insurance, you're also liable, which means all that those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of coverage that you will not have to benefit you, well, you may be personally liable for. So bad day at the office. Never drive without insurance. That's like the number one thing you should be on top of. I know people say, I hate insurance. Everyone hates insurance. No one likes it until they need it. And when they need it, then they suddenly love insurance. Love-hate. Scenario. That scrolled past my screen and disappeared. Come back. Here we go. Mike O'Hara says, scenario. You have a controlled intersection with a bridge before light. Traffic light before bridge for visibility of main light. Bridge can block the visibility of main light. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Part 2 says main intersection light is red. Is it considered running a red light if the light before the bridge is red as well and you proceed under the bridge? I thought I was picking up what you're putting down. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Bridge can... I'm not seeing it. Maybe you can DM me on that one because I'd love to understand and exactly what you're talking about. Or maybe you have an intersection where I can look at that using the googly maps because I want to answer you, but I'm just not seeing what you're seeing. Okay, and if somebody else is seeing what Mike's seeing and you want to paraphrase and let me know so we're all on the same page, please do. Michael says motorcycles are the way. Green plates, no. Hate Tesla. Well, I don't hate Tesla. I think Tesla makes some cool stuff. I don't say that they're the best thing out there, but I certainly think that the technology is interesting. I would go green. I'm a little scared to go green because I like to drive everywhere, like across the planet. I'm a go on adventure drive person, but you can't really do that with electric vehicles, even though it was done in a couple of movies, about motorcycles. One of them where they had somebody follow them with a giant truck with a diesel generator on it, but that's a totally different story. Okay. I can't pronounce that. On screen. Right to right on red, left to left on red, all legal. What about U-turn on red? Okay. Right turn on red light at a signalized intersection. If you come to a stop, you can make a right turn on the red after coming to a stop when it's safe to do so, presuming there's no sign preventing you, or that at the very least that you're in a province that allows it, because not every province does. Or maybe it's just Montreal that doesn't, or Quebec, I should say. Or is it just the island that says no right turn on red? I think it's just the island. So the province says it's legal. The Montreal proper says no. Left to left on red. Left turn on red light is permitted if it's a one-way to another one-way. That's the only time you can make a left turn on a red light. Same thing applies. Left turn, and you must be where left turns are permitted. It has to be where there's no sign preventing it. It has to be safe to do so after coming to a complete stop. What about U-turns on red? Well, that one you cannot do. You can't make a U-turn on a red. That is neither a right turn or left turn. That is a sit in the middle of the intersection for a prolonged period of time to do something that is often considered a very unsafe move. It must be green for you to make a U-turn. You cannot do it on a red, and you must make sure that it's safe to do so. Because U-turns are one of those things that people will argue with me that it's not unsafe. Well, guess what? It is unsafe. It is the highest risk turn you can make, so you have the longest period of time in the intersection. And oh yes, thank you for everyone who jumped in with the Get Smart, and Chaos and Control. Yes, awesome. Owen Cooper. We talked about that one. And boy, everyone remembered automatically with this Get Smart business. So a lot of replies. Much appreciate the replies. How many people can you have with you on your G1? There's no, well, the limit is that you can only have, and this is really for any driver, you can only have as many people in the vehicle as you can put in seats with seatbelts. You can't have more people than seatbelts. However, with a G1, you can only have one person in the front seat, and that is your supervising driver, your supervising G. So let's say you have a vehicle capable of taking 6 people. In that scenario, you can only have 5 people because you can't have anybody else in the front seats. There is no restriction that I'm aware of. Yeah, there's no, other than what I've just described, there's no other restriction for G1. Mind you, from midnight till 5 a.m., you can't drive as a G1. I didn't make that up, right? I now have to double check it. I'm pretty sure you cannot. Let's see here. G1 restrictions. Sometimes I say stuff that I think I know, and then I have the second guess myself. Restrictions. Did I spell that right? Restrictions. I don't have to say Ontario, but I type it anyway. What are the restrictions for G1 driver? Not being drinking alcohol, 0 BAC. Must not drive alone, have an accompanying driver in the front passenger seat. Each person in the vehicle must have a working seatbelt. Oh, there's more. Come back. Come on. Come on. Of course, it's all the way at the bottom of the... Oh, come on. Conditions, conditions, conditions. Oh, it made it nice and easy to read when I was looking at it from there. That's requirements. Yeah, and you can't drive between midnight and 5 a.m. I was right. My memory served. I appreciate my memory when it works. I remember a lot of stuff, but you know what? You push something in and it falls out the other side. So eventually there's just so much you can maintain and recall. At least I can. Michael Hero says, someone else breaking the law is not an excuse for you to break the law. There's exemptions. Like, for instance, if you are calling police, you can pick up your phone and call police, even if you don't have a Bluetooth, because you're phoning in an emergency. So in that situation, there is an exemption, but filming isn't one of them. And it makes sense, right? Why would you film it? For a TikTok, or are you going to call police? So it depends. Calling police better and legal because there's an exemption. Dig Hill Chandra says, in a dedicated left turn lane, can you left turn with no traffic? Traffic signals blank, but go straight. Okay, this is asking it. You jumped over to YouTube. If it's a dedicated lane, it probably has a lane control light. So we talked about that. Okay. Which means depending on the construction of this thing, that's what I said before. Hey, Jacob, how you doing? I see you. Let's see here. What's the fine and consequences? What is the fine and other consequences for driving on an 80-kilometer-an-hour road with an M1 license? So you can drive on an 80-kilometer-an-hour road. You cannot drive on highways with a speed limit above 80. So you can't exceed 80. You can't be on a 401, which is 100 or 110. That's prohibited. There are some roads that are over 80 that you can be on because they're exempt. There's a list of the ones that are excluded because they're the only roads available. So in those situations, you can actually drive on roads that are over 80. If you were going on a 401, which is, so I think you're asking about the restrictions. If you were on the 401, for instance, a controlled access expressway that is prohibited from M1 use, which is a motorcycle license for anyone, a motorcycle learners for anyone who's wondering what we're talking about. You would be charged for violating a condition of your learner's permit. You would be paying a $110 ticket, a fine, and you would get a 30-day suspension on your license because you violated a condition. Don't do that. Dad joke I'm going to leave till the end, but I saw the hashtag. Thank you. Can I use my phone? What is this? Can I use my phone on video to play music in my car that is connected to Bluetooth? If the screen is invisible to you, could you? If you didn't touch it, you set it up and you just put YouTube music on or YouTube videos and it's auto-played and you listen to all the commercials because you're not a subscriber. As long as you can't see the screen and you don't touch the phone, I don't think there's an issue with it. But you can't, and if you have the subscription, you can actually shut it off and let it play in the background. But you're better off not using a video thing. Just use the audio, an audio music app, and you use CarPlay if you have it. If you don't, then you must still set it and forget it and not touch it while you're driving. Oh, no kidding. 12:55. Thank you very much. Akela Draconis reminding everybody that there is an alert test coming at 12:55, which means everybody's phones and watches and connected devices are going to ring and make noise. And I would very much like it if you did not call and complain, because I hear about people who get upset about the alert system being a pain. That is something to protect people. That is something to save lives and cherish lives, kids' lives. So, yeah, it's worth it. We'll deal with it. We talked about this. How do I DM you? Oh, okay. Mike O'Hara, go to trafficcop.ca. You can get into contact with me like on all. Instagram is easy because you can long form message me there. You can go on to TikTok and message me. That's a way to do it. You can go to LinkedIn and message me. There's lots of ways to message me. You can even email traffic safety programs at torontopolice.on.ca. We check that too. Okay, regional TO. Oh, not driving related, but do I know if there's more Toronto Police Dodge Chargers will be added to traffic services? And then confirms that there is alert ready test for Ontario 12:55. I'm not aware of any more coming. I don't know if there will or won't be. I'm not aware of anything like that. We have a couple marked, we have a couple unmarked, and they're very nice looking cars. I don't want to be in one. I think they're too small for me. I don't even want to try it because they look small. Give me a full size truck, and I'm happy. Does everyone know why it's Amber Alert? I know why it's Amber Alert. Let me go to the Amber Alert website and I can bring it up. Amber Alert story. I think that's what I found it last time we talked about it. Missingkids.ca talks about it. And I'll put it up on this. Here we go. Amber Alert. Sharing it on the screen makes it easy. In 1996, a 9-year-old Amber Hagerman was kidnapped from Arlington, Texas, and brutally murdered. Her death was a profound impact on her community, and in the wake of this tragedy, an emergency alert system was developed to facilitate the rapid distribution of information to the public about child abduction incidents. It's named in her honor. It's a great system. It saves lives. Let's see here. Can I have clear backlights? It's weird to talk about lights after talking about Amber Alert. But yes, we can talk about that. And no, when you talk about backup lights, they have to be clear. If you're talking about clear lights instead of brake lights that are red or amber, no, they have to be red or amber. You can't make them white light. You can only project yellow or red to the rear. Now, your brake lights must be red. You can't have amber brake lights, just to avoid any confusion. I must stay that. The Grinch says, thank you for sharing the story. I always find it important to understand the backstory. 100%. Knowledge is power. And knowing is half the battle. Which one is that? Who said that first? Let's see here. And then there was, and now you know. That's another one. That's a different one. I'm using taglines from the 80s and 90s and see who goes, oh my God, I remember that. So many people won't know what I'm talking about. John asks, we're talking about who played in, of course the Grinch knows, because the Grinch is of my vintage. Don Adams from the original show and Steve Carell from 2008. I loved both of them as in that role. Let's see here. Oh no, there was that was Inspector Gadget. I almost oopsied and conflated the two characters. I also loved Inspector Gadget. Let's see here. Mostly the cartoon. I think that was better. If someone cuts into your lane and brake checks you, are you liable for the accident? Well, it's a collision, not an accident. We get big on words here. But are you liable if someone intentionally causes a collision? Could you be someone who was following too close? Potentially. So you want to be paying attention. If someone cuts into your lane, you want to create space as quickly as you can, as safely as you can. But a brake check could be criminal, could be careless, could be so many things. And this is where having a dash camera is so important, because this is part of insurance fraud. People do this to cause a collision and then say that you caused the collision. So dash camera is the way to protect yourself, because Otherwise, it's their story against yours, their word against yours. And in the absence of an independent witness, dash camera is going to be the best thing to protect you. What do we have here? And Zombie says, is it really following too close that they cut into your lane in the last second? No. It's not following too close unless you don't do anything to change it after it's happened. So if it's an instantaneous thing where they cut in front of you and then brake check you, that's probably even intentional. And that's why I say it could be criminal. It could be many things. At very least, it's an unsafe move. But if they are now in front of you and you do nothing to make space, that's where it could become. And if they then, moments later, as two separate actions, hit the brakes, not to brake check you, but they hit the brakes. If you've done nothing to prevent it, you could be responsible. So you have to be actively driving, actively paying attention. What do we got here? Oh, good to know. So not only was Mike says Inspector Gadget was a pillar of his early morning cartoons before school. Akela says that the actor, I guess it's the same voice actor, the Maxwell Smart actor was the Inspector Gadget voice actor. Maybe that's why I conflate the two. Can an electric vehicle, let's see this. Can an electric vehicle with a red plate ride in the HOV lane with one person on it, or does it have to be green? Fantastic question. I've never been asked it, but it's the green plate that gives you access to that lane. So technically speaking, a red plate cannot go into it, regardless of the fuel source for that vehicle. And unless there's some special law that I'm not aware of, they don't get access. Michael says, he's writing poetry now. As your body grows bigger, your mind must flower. It's great to learn because knowledge is power. Schoolhouse rock. I like it. Ontario Boy says, how does an Ontario license work while visiting Canada? Depends on how long you're visiting and from where you are licensed. But generally speaking, most countries will have a license that will be accepted here. If you're visiting, then you can actually drive if you have, so up until a certain point, I can't remember if it's 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. I have to go look up my trafficcop.ca where I have the link to it because it's in there. So trafficcop.ca, way down at the bottom, there's a link for all this information. However, there's a period of time that you can use your foreign license without an international driver's permit. Beyond that, you need to get an IDP from your home country to use it beyond that. And I don't know if it's 6 months or thereabouts. If you've become a resident, after 60 days, you can no longer use your foreign license. So there's a difference, you say visiting versus not. Just want to clarify, if you are a resident here, it is different. And there are, one of the biggest reasons to require an IDP, International Driving Permit, is it's a translation card. That permit is not a license on its own. It simply translates the information from your driver's license into into English. Do you know if it's illegal? Oh, here's the question. Do you know if it's illegal to follow fire services or EMS? Because I have a friend from Florida that says it's illegal to do so, but I know the laws are different in other places. When you say follow, do you mean like tuck behind and as they clear traffic, continue to drive? Or because you are obligated to pull over and stop. If you mean once they've pulled out, can you jump in behind and sort of catch the wake? I don't know if there's a specific law. I know that it really aggravates me, but I don't know if there's a specific law. I'll have to look into that. If I have what is this? If I have a headlight out, can I still drive during the day? You're only required to have two headlights during the night. We probably wouldn't see it even. So could you? Yeah, you drive with one headlight out all the way to get your new headlight put in. But you cannot drive at night with one headlight. And there's this cool, I like that song though. One head. Anyway, do cops get to choose what vehicle they want for their patrol car, Explorer, Explorer, Charger, Crown, Victoria, etc.? There are vehicles available in the garage, and we're not assigned specific vehicles generally. So you get what you get, and you don't cry. You know, when I was on the road, I preferred the Crown Vic over the Taurus because I don't fit in the Taurus. It's actually quite a silly looking picture to see me in it. When they got the Explorers, I usually went for the Explorers because I tried the Explorers until and when they finally got rid of the Crown Vics, I I went to the Explorers because there was nothing else. Boom, 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 boom. Medical emergency while driving, you pull over and call 911 as your car just left to the side of the road. If we attend a call and you're going to be taken by ambulance, police will come and tow your vehicle. We won't leave it at the side of the road. It's generally impounded to protect it, and we'll do an inventory search to make sure that valuables are documented, but it's not just abandoned and left there. What is this? We have a new section of our street that now includes area under the speed limit sign. I can't find what it means or the implications of it. So this is the new 30 or 40 zone. So there's basically an entire area. Once you pass that sign, everything beyond that until it says ends is going to be that new speed limit. So it's a residential area, not an arterial road, and everything in that area is of that speed. It'll sign when you're entering and when you're exiting. A funny story, my buddy has a house that is a corner lot at a cul-de-sac. It's just a little circle, not even a circle, it's a cul-de-sac. There's a sign that says, as you drive in, 30 kilometer an hour zone. There's like 7 houses on the street, and as you turn around to come out, it says 30 zone ends. And it's ridiculous, but it's funny and ridiculous. Okay. What is this? Oh, not chasing. So you mean, is it illegal to walk or run after fire emergency vehicles and not physically on the vehicles themselves? I've never heard of anyone getting in trouble for walking in the same direction or following. I imagine if it becomes to the realm of criminal harassment, maybe if they feel, threatened in some way. But I'm adding. I don't know where we're going with this. Generally speaking, if you see an ambulance and you want to go see what they're doing, it's not against the law. Vice versa. Filming from a public place to other people in public places, is it legal? Yeah. But if you're asked to stay back by police or anyone, please comply. And of course, please respect the privacy of people being treated. Medical stuff is a big deal. Kayla Jacona says, one headlight by the wallflowers. I like that. I like it a lot. The police impounds vehicle to protect it. Per that situation mentioned, does the driver still have to pay the impound fees and storage fees? So actually, yes, Mike, they do. You're still responsible for the fees, but we do impound it, whether you're arrested or you go to hospital. If we can't find, if you're arrested, for sure it goes to impound. If you're going to a hospital and there's somebody else there, they might be able to take the vehicle. But if it's not a forced impound, then we'd prefer to have somebody else take it. Actually, stand by. It's not impound. If you're unconscious, it's an impound. If you're awake when you go to the hospital, you can make your own arrangements. So if you, it's been a while since I've done this. So yeah, if you're conscious and you give direction, you speak to a tow provider that's there, they can say, drive it home for me. They can take that direction from you. If you're unconscious, it's going to be, or if you've left the scene and you're not there to be consulted, it'll be impounded. But yeah, you are responsible for the fees if it's impounded. Boom, boom, boom. We're wrapping up, though. We're over time. So I'm going to grab a couple more questions, and then we're going to say goodbye for another day. Zach has a question about our son's e-bikies. I'm sorry, being very literal. Is it street legal, or do you need a license to ride one? Maximum kilometers is about 60 or 70. Okay. First of all, question to follow up is are you in Ontario? Because in Ontario, the legal maximum speed for an e-bike is 32 kilometers an hour. If that e-bike is capable, I say capable, it's a very important word, because it doesn't matter if you ever exceed 32 kilometers an hour. If it's capable, whether it be by flipping a switch or twisting your wrist, of going faster, then it's illegal for the road. It has to have a maximum speed on a flat surface, full acceleration, not capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour. There are a lot of vehicles that can. There's a lot of vehicles that when you buy it from the dealer, the first thing they say is, I can make it go faster. I can show you how to make it go faster. It's this one wire, see? Pull it, now it goes 85 kilometers an hour. Yeah, that's an illegal motorcycle. That's not registered, requires a license, ownership, license plate. So you need to have a motorcycle license. You have to have a license plate attached. It has to be registered. And guess what? It's an e-bike that isn't manufactured. There's no VIN. There's no number on the serial number like a vehicle identification number. It hasn't passed the Transport Canada safety rules, so you can't even get it licensed. That becomes an off-road only vehicle where you cannot take it on the road at all. I'm so glad you asked it, Zach, because this is important stuff that people need to know about. If you have a kick scooter that does not have, or that is not maxed out at 24 kilometers an hour, it too is a motor vehicle. In fact, they're all motor vehicles. Any electric vehicle is a motor vehicle, except that under certain conditions, it's given the benefit of not being deemed a motor vehicle. So if it goes maximum 32K on a flat surface and it has pedals that are functional and it has an appropriate braking system and so on and so forth, then it's legal and it's deemed to not be a motor vehicle for the purposes of the Highway Traffic Act. However, it's still a motor vehicle for the Criminal Code of Canada, which means you can still get charged for impaired operation if you're riding it, regardless of the speed. But it's really good. That Zach, your son's e-bike is definitely illegal based on the information you provided. Evo X has an interesting question. That is a very specific question. So, in a medical emergency, example, pregnancy or cut jugular, we're stuck in traffic. Is it okay for us to drive on the shoulder of a highway, for example? Pregnancy, I got to tell you, generally speaking, and having been next to someone who was having a baby, being my wife, we planned and went way early. Do emergencies happen? Yes. Do you know what you do? You call 911 and you take direction from a dispatcher. If you're, I tend to hear a lot of unhappy people when I say use an ambulance, and they're saying, we're in America, it's very expensive. Okay, we're in Canada, it's free for, or other than a fee, there's I think $50 or so, at least in our jurisdiction. And they're going to get you fairly quickly. Use them. If you're in a rural area and it's going to be 2 hours, you may not live that long, or it may cause harm to the baby. Take direction from the dispatcher. Very often you hear people being told to drive to a particular location. The ambulance will meet you on the way. Do that. Do what you're told to do, because they're going to give you the safest. And don't speed and don't drive recklessly, because if you cause a collision, especially whilst stressed, you're not getting anywhere. Now, jugulars are a really interesting situation. I don't know how often that happens. Jugular being your airway, the neck, the throat. That's not a good place to get cut. Take direction from 911. And if you really think about this, you could be bleeding out. If you're traveling to via the shoulder, you're probably going to lose control of that vehicle as soon as you lose consciousness. If you're driving somebody else, hopefully you're able to do it, and hopefully you have a team of people who are stabilizing that person before transporting them, which is really what I talk about when we talk about running to code to when you're calling 911 for an ambulance. You're not just getting a ride to the hospital. You're getting someone who's capable of giving you advanced medical care right where you are. They don't just pick you up and throw you in the truck and go. They stabilize their patients. They get information to administer certain medications. They're going to be the best chance of getting you to the hospital alive, or your friend or whomever is injured. So every situation is different. Call 911. Take direction. But are you allowed to do things? There's no specific allowance to allow you to drive on the sidewalk, speed, do anything. You're not allowed to do those things. And then the follow-up question is, the Ontario boy wanting to know if there's any point where going above the speed limit is acceptable. No, legally no. Could you get a ticket for speeding even if you were going to save a life? Yeah, you're not authorized to, and could you be ticketed? Sure. Will you get ticketed? Maybe. Maybe not. Depends on what the responding officer does. Are you going to get pulled over? Oh, yeah. Could you get arrested if you choose not to pull over? You're in a pursuit now. It's a complicated subject. 911, tell your dispatcher what's going on. Take direction. Some people may not like to hear that. Some people get stressed out when I say it, but it is what it is. We talked about this earlier. Can I have my phone on video in my car as it's connected to my radio? On video mode, if you can see that screen by looking over, you can get a ticket for it. Screen visible to driver. Okay, and I'm glad Mike sent me a DM. Thank you very much. Kayla says, don't have a good day, have a great day, and stay safe. Mike says, even a pedal bike can exceed 32 kilometers an hour. Does that make it legal? A pedal bike is not an e-bike. If you can do 32 kilometers an hour on a pedal-only bike, no electric power, then you are fine. If you can do a combined excess, so if you're on a augmented or a pedelec, and even though there's electric power augmenting your abilities, making you stronger essentially, bionic rider, and you can do more than 32 kilometers an hour, you're pedaling. 32 kilometers an hour, that maximum is when you are on solely electric power. You twist your wrist and you go. Now, some people will say, well, I'm pedaling when I'm going 90. No, that doesn't count. If I'm capable of driving on power alone over 32 kilometers an hour, it's illegal. Okay. Austinator Reed, laughing joke. Here's what he says. I was going 80 in the 80 zone. A cop, what is behind me? And I was going to the store. And he pulled up beside me, so I gave him a high wave. And he flipped on his lights and pulled me over. Is that a joke or did that really happen? Maybe he didn't know why you were being so friendly. It was suspicious. Anyway, I have talked way over time, and I must go because there are things that need to happen, even including lunch, which has to happen. If you are watching and you didn't know who I was, but you hung around for a few minutes, let me introduce myself. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I am here to help. I want to answer your traffic and police questions. We do it from 10 to 11, sometimes till 11:11. Now I want pizza. Anyway, sometimes we go slightly over time, but it's an hour a day whenever I can be in the office. We are going to be live tomorrow. We will not be live, at least not in the regular sense. I'm going to be on site. I'm going to be off-site for a media event in Markham on Friday, a motorcycle safety event. And then I will be back on Monday and Tuesday, and then you won't see me till June 5th. So at least not in our regular thing. Austinator says, an hour a day keeps the doctor away. Right on. And we have a great and safe day. And you know what? Here's a traffic song. A song, not a song. It's not a song. It's a song. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Drive sober.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I never get tired of the song. I love it. And I was just talking to the performer, the officer who yeah, they did that. They made that. I neglected to dad joke and not wanting to leave that until tomorrow. Let's start with Zombie's dad joke. An argument I often have with my car is when it tells me my door is ajar and I keep saying, no, it's a door. Actually, I have a story about that because my dad used to have a 280 ZX Turbo, and it was my first experience of the talking car. Your door is ajar. Your door is ajar. Bing, bing, bing. This is a joke. Let's see if it's any good. Dad, why can't humans hear the sound of a dog whistle? What do you mean? Dogs can't whistle. It's kind of a groaner. Why was the weeping willow so sad? This is definitely a groaner. It was watching a sappy movie. Yeah, I got nothing for you. I do have a joke that has potential for tomorrow, so we'll deal with that then. Have a great day.